Hello and welcome to my tutorial for this box that I made on my Facebook Live weekly tutorial for Tuesday at 2. And I wanted to just go through this project with you because I didn't actually do the scoring and cutting. I had all that prepped on my Facebook Live. So let me go ahead and go over that with you. You are at the channel of Candy Rattray, SweetStamper.com. I am in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I have a piece of 8.5 by 11 early espresso cardstock, and I'm feeding this through my paper trimmer. And I'm going to start over here at the 2-inch mark. Let me just get into the camera a little bit better. And I'm going to use the scoring blade on my paper trimmer. The Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer comes with 2 blades. It comes with a scoring blade and it comes with a cutting blade. The scoring blade is lighter in color, and I like to remember that by knowing that the lighter in color means it's lighter in pressure. So that means it's not going to cut my cardstock, it's only going to score it. So here is my 2-inch, and then I'm going to come down to 5 1/4, and I'm going to score again. And then I'm going to come down to 7 1/4, and I'm going to score again. And then I'm going to come down to 10 1/2, almost to the edge of my paper. And I am going to score one last time on the long side. Now I'm going to flip my paper over to the short side, and I'm going to start at 2 inches again. Super easy to remember, but I do have the free PDF tutorial with all of the written instructions and written measurements for you in the comments. So there's my 2-inch score line, and now I'm going to come all the way to the edge again, and I'm going to cut this. I'm going to bring it to the 8-inch mark, and I'm going to cut off this little 1/2 inch of cardstock. But I do that because I want all of those score lines in there. So that is all the cutting and scoring that I need to do on my trimmer. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of trimming with my paper snips. My paper snips are right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the bottom of my box, and I'm going to cut on all of these score lines up to the line that goes across there that runs perpendicular. I like to call that the intersection. So I'm just cutting right on the score lines up to that intersection. And then I'm going to come over here to this little tiny one, and I'm going to just nip that out. I don't need that. So that's the one piece of cardstock I don't need on this project. Everything else, I'm using this entire sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Now, this is not absolutely essential, but it does kind of make your box lay a little better and not be quite so bulky. So I like to trim out just a little, like a little skinny triangle from each of these flaps. And that's going to just allow my box to come together and not be quite so bulky at the bottom. Just pull that out, and then one last one, and then we are ready to assemble this box. This creates a really nice size box that you could put a lot of different things into. So now we're going to just crease each of our score lines, and I like to use a bone folder to really get that nice sharp crease. This is cardstock, and so it's going to make a heavy box. It's really strong, but you also, because it's strong and it's cardstock, you really need that sharp crease to make your box really stand nicely and not be all floppy and soft. Okay, so that is all ready to go. And now I'm going to just put adhesive right here on this skinny scored piece. And my recommendation is to use any kind of a super strong adhesive, because it's a box and there is going to be some tension in the box. You want something super strong. And then you see how I'm just taking that and folding it over to meet. Boom, done. Super easy. Now I'm going to do a couple more things before I actually put the bottom together. And that is, I'm going to go ahead and put my Designer Series paper down. And for this, I'm just going to use my regular snail adhesive. This is the Designer Series paper from the Ornate Garden Designer Series paper in the 2020 through 2021 Stampin' Up! Catalog. It's also on an early release, so I'm actually filming this in May when the catalog has not yet been released. But this was a pre-release set of papers, really beautiful. And I'm using the Daisy design. Of course, you could use any designer paper that you have that's going to suit the occasion that you're wanting to make this for. But I will say these daisies and this particular color scheme, I think is kind of appropriate for any time of year. Now I'm going to take this little strip. You remember this little strip we created? And cut that off. I am going to run that all along the top of my box, kind of about a third of the way from the top. And there's little score lines in there already, and that's going to perfectly coordinate with my box. And I'm just going to once again use a super strong adhesive. You could do this with the liquid glue, but just for the sake of the video, it's going to be quicker for me to do this with the Fast Fuse because it dries immediately. And I'm just carrying that right across and then just keep going all the way across. And this kind of has a couple of different functions. For one thing, it's going to, and I'm just gonna, yeah, that's all right. It's going to give your box actually a little bit of extra support right up at the top, but also gives kind of a nice little punctuation mark. So now I'm just going to put these two inside, and then I'm going to put some adhesive on this part here and push down. And then I'm going to do this here, and I'm going to put a lot of adhesive on that one because I want it. That's kind of the final stage of my box. And then I like to put my hand down in there. You can see how large this box is. I put my hand down in there and really press that into place. And now I am just ready to decorate my box. So what I did was I actually used both the Daisy Punch and the medium Daisy Punch. These layer beautifully inside each other. I've already cut out 2 of each, and I'm actually using crushed curry cardstock. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some crushed curry ink, and I'm going to sponge these to give them a little bit of extra life and really make them stand out. So I'll just show you here. If I put my cardstock on there, it looks nice. But when I add the ink, and this is just tone on tone, I'm using crushed curry ink on crushed curry cardstock. Look at the difference. So you can see the difference that makes. And I'm going to do 2 of the large and then 2 of the medium. And then I'm going to just stack these together, just cross stack them. And honestly, the easiest way to do that, and it also holds them really well, is to use a mini glue dot on them. So let me just get all of the, you do have to be a little bit careful because you don't want to rip your petals. So, you can't get too crazy with the sponge or you'll end up ripping a petal by accident. So now, the only other thing I need is my mini glue dots here. So I'm just going to put a mini glue dot in the bottom of that one and then cross stack it like so. And then I'm going to put another mini glue dot on the bottom there. And now I'm going to attach it to my big daisy. And then I have one more, and I'm going to do another mini glue dot and put it right like so. And now I'm ready to put several dimensionals on the back. And I like to do this to make sure my daisy isn't going to fly off. I need it to be really stable. I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and this is 4 1/4 by 2 inches. I'm going to stamp just a little greeting at the bottom. This is actually from Itty Bitty Birthdays. Really a great stamp set, really versatile. It's your day, although this is part of Itty Bitty Birthdays. that to me can take care of graduation, any kind of a special day for someone. I can put that greeting on there and it really works. I mean, it's your day. It could be for Mother's Day or Father's Day or a whole host of things. I am going to take this delightful tag topper and just feed that in to give it a nice little finished top. So now this is going to layer on here. And again, I'm just going to use some basic strong adhesive. Pop that on like so. And then I'm going to put my beautiful, beautiful daisy. This is going to stay right there. I think, let's see, I think I'm going to do it like so. Well, I think I'm going to do it like so. And then I am going to put just a little, this is a 1/2 inch circle punch that I used on a piece of a little scrap of early espresso cardstock. That is going there. And then my little finishing touch is to put a little bit of ribbon up at the top. Now you can see where initially when I was designing this, I thought about doing a bow, and it's just a little bit too much. So here I'm going to take just a small, not a bow, I'm going to take a little knot, and this is the Crush Curry crinkled seam binding ribbon. It's actually in our last chance list right now. And again, I'm going to take another little mini glue dot and pop it right there to fill that little hole. And then my box is totally complete. The one last thing I'm going to do is put a few of these gilded gems. This is another item that is new in our new 2020 to 2021 Stampin' Up! Catalog, but it's part of the pre-release. And this whole suite, this whole garden suite, ornate garden suite, is part of that early release. So that is how you make the box. And here's another example how you can see that once you put some tissue inside there, you could put a scarf in here, you could put some golf balls in here, you could put a little sack of coffee, you could put sweets, all kinds of things. So I will leave it up to you to decide what you would like to put in your box. Quick and easy box using a single sheet of cardstock. And don't forget to follow me at sweetstamper.com.